What's good, folks? It's NightmareFrame here with a new Warframe video. It's 2024 and you want powerful and versatile Warframes to improve your arsenal. I already released the must-have weapons to begin your year, so this will do the same, as this list will provide you with 10 powerful frames that cheese the game while also improving your weapons, damage, supporting your team, all the way up to farming. Unfortunately, I will not provide the builds, but I will have links for all the frames present in this video down in the description below. These frames have amazing base kits, but at the same time, the helmet system and Archon shards greatly improves their abilities, as there are frames with abilities that are just better off on other frames, as they boost their kits and make them even more powerful. And all the frames here offer something unique you want to have in your arsenal. But before that, a quick word from today's sponsor. Are you ready for the ultimate fantasy RPG experience? Then look no further than Raid Shadow Legends. Raid is a turn-based RPG where you gather powerful champions, team them up for team synergy to fight against mighty foes, and do your best to defeat them against all odds. If that sounds exciting, use the QR code or my links in the description to download Raid. The holiday season may be over, but the excitement in Raid continues. The Cursed City is one of Raid's biggest features since the Doom Tower, with 100 stages to complete, including stages where you'll need to take down 2 Raid bosses at the same time. Raid has no shortage of icy cold champions to make for the perfect snowbound squad. Glycea Soul Guide of the Sacred Order. She's an excellent counter to champions that increase cooldowns. She can spread debuffs like Weaken, so you can deal more damage, and a freeze that prevents enemies from getting another turn. And there's never been a better time to get started. New players, use my link or scan the QR code right here and get a free starter pack to boost your new player journey. Get Raid Shadow Legends today, and I'll see you there. Alright, with that out of the way, let's begin with number 10. Nova, the Antimatter Frame. She's able to control the battlefield with her 4th ability, changing the speed of enemies depending on her strength. Enemies that die create a chain explosion. This ability is very useful to speed up or slow down certain objectives, meta for group resource farming, and now Netrocells, making the grind even smoother. The best part is that she has decent augments for all her abilities. If you're looking for a frame that can move fast, teleport, or even teleport your projectiles to hit enemies, or even teleport allies to safer location, or speed up slow NPCs, she's your girl. She has decent survivability with her 1st ability, while it also provides you with more explosions paired with her 4th, and even more explosions when you use her 2nd ability. She's one of those frames that will be asked for quite a lot. Number 9. Mesa, a frame that can be devastating even with low investment. If you don't have a bunch of guns formatted or leveled, but you have this frame, well, you're pretty much sorted. She's the gunslinger frame who wields 2 exalted pistols that projects damage onto enemies and easily wipes them out. On top of that, she's tanky towards other enemy fire, able to reduce damage from incoming projectiles and have them bounce back. Being a master of guns, she can also take control and jam enemy guns while stunning and blinding them thanks to the augment. What makes this even deadlier is that she can share this ability with her allies to completely jam, stun, and blind anything, even through walls. Number 8. Citrine, one of the best supports in the game. At the same time, she can boost your damage and spread status effects. With her passive, she can give her allies healing over time. With one ability, she marks a massive group of enemies, and when they die, they drop health and energy orbs. And with the other ability, she can give her entire team 90% damage reduction within affinity radius. And she can deploy a gem that increases everyone's status chance and status duration, while also spreading singular elemental status effects and deal damage over time. She can also stun lock enemies and have them vulnerable to critical damage. Perfect for any squad, and no one would complain if you were to have her in your team. Number 7. Korra, the Beastmaster, the one frame that's perfect for insane damage with one ability, as her 1st ability is a unique damaging tool that scales from several sources, allowing you to deal obnoxious amounts of damage. She creates a large dome that reaches out and grabs enemies and incapacitates them. Now you're able to distribute all damage dealt within it, killing everything. At the same time, anything grabbed by the dome and killed within it grants bonus loot thanks to its augment, and and this augment has no delay. As long as enemies die within the dome, you get bonus loot. And the only frame in the entire game that can have 2 companions, since her passive gives her control over a Kavat with additional abilities and that can be modded separately. Number 6. Gauss, the most recent prime frame with the release of this video. He's able to harness the power of kinetic energy, increasing the potency of all of his abilities. To keep it simple, the more you move, the stronger your abilities get. Once he activates Redline, this ability boosts all of his other abilities while granting him additional utility, as he is the only frame in the game currently that can increase his own casting speed. He also gains bonus fire rate, attack speed, reload speed, and deal AoE damage that can stun and knock down enemies, freeze them, while also stripping them of their armor. His second ability grants you 100% damage reduction to everything except toxin, electric, and gas. At the same time, you also gain crowd control immunity. If you like going fast while dealing a lot of damage, he's your guy. Number 5. Revenant, literally the most unkillable frame in the entire game. This guy is a walking tank that can ignore damage while also stunning enemies, gaining iframes, and being immune to 100% of all status effects. His third ability is a movement tech that can also one-shot anything in its path. The first ability turns enemies into allies and can remove unique defenses from certain targets, like removing Acolyte's damage attenuation, turning them into butter. Enemies affected by the first ability are vulnerable to the third ability, which also synergizes with his tanking ability, refreshing its stacks. Not to mention, he has an augment that increases the potency of his tanking ability and can share a small portion of that to allies. He is that casual type of frame for people who want to experience high-level content and enemies without trying too hard. Number 4. Protea, the gadget frame. Her first ability has 2 modes, but the most important one is where she deploys shield pickups that can regenerate and boost shields, and this can also be shared with allies. But using these pickups grants herself 2 times the minimum she'll get duration if the shields do break. She can deploy turrets that auto-target and shred anything in sight. The damage scales from strength and depending on how many enemies they hit and how long they shoot, building up their damage multiplier to absurd levels. Another device that can generate health, energy, and universal ammo pickups that can be shared by everyone, as each person has their own instance of pickups, and this means she never runs into energy issues. One of the most comfortable picks for any game mode. Number 3. Varuna, the werewolf, the best melee warframe in the entire game. If you love melee, then she is your gal. Each one of her abilities offers a unique passive, and one of her passive grants her 100% status immunity from any elemental proc or even crowd control effects, and it cannot be nullified because it is a passive. Her first ability alone grants you invisibility, absolute crit chance and status chance, and a final critical damage multiplier. It guaranteed bleeds on every melee hit and 200% sprint speed increase. That's just one ability, by the way. Her second ability is able to apply 10 stacks of every single moddable element in the entire game, and killing enemies affected by this ability spreads a portion of those status effects to nearby enemies, and sometimes can cause a massive chain reaction of damage. Her third ability has enemies drop health and energy orbs depending on how you kill them. You can extend the duration of this ability by killing enemies affected by 5 or more status effects. And guess what her second ability does? You only need your melee with this frame, while the guns are just there for show, or just holding the dexterity arcane. Number 2. Wisp, the Spectre, an offensive support and a frame with great survivability. A comfortable pick for anyone looking to do a lot of the content in the game without trying that hard. From boss fights, defense objectives, all the way to spy missions, she just makes them feel a lot easier. Her first ability alone can grant anyone a larger health pool, healing over time, bonus movement speed, fire rate, and attack speed, while also having an electric aura to stun enemies. Her second ability turns you invisible, draws away enemy fire, extends the reach of your first and third ability, also allows you to teleport, and grants you 100% damage immunity. Her third ability is a crowd control tool that distributes damage. It can blind Eximus units, stun enemies, and create a chain reaction of damage sparks that reach into the millions and billions. An amazing synergy with her first and second ability. Before we get into number 1, here are some honorable mentions that couldn't make it into the top 10 but still offer amazing tools in their kits. Volt. He boosts your movement speed, attack speed, and reload speed, creates a protective barrier that you can carry around, and grant you bonus critical damage for any projectile shot through it. Zaku, a destructive skeleton that can steal guns from enemies and have them become his own portable turrets that scale with strength and enemy level, while also granting all of his weapons bonus void damage and void effects. Garuda, the Harpy, that bleeds, shreds, and nukes enemies. She has ultimate control over her body, that she can even generate her own energy and easily sustain herself. Zephyr, an amazing frame with great crowd control, survivability, and scaling damage with her tornadoes. Mag, a frame with ultimate control over shields. She can also armor strip, create a death ball that can suck in enemies and boost weapon damage and scale in damage. Alright, now onto the number 1 spot. Seren, the Plague. One of the best weapon platformers in the game, while also having an amazing ability synergy. Her first ability spreads corrosion, stripping enemy armor, boosting your damage done to them, while also having it scale in damage the more of this corrosion spreads. Easily done with her third ability, and that third ability coats all of her weapons in toxin damage, scaling from Warframe and weapon mods, while also increasing their damage, triple dipping in damage, and triggering alongside a multitude of effects and reactions from weapons and abilities. Her second ability draws away enemy fire, cleanses you of status effects, and when it's taken enough damage, it detonates and spreads toxin damage, increasing the corrosion spread even further. She's definitely that frame you want to use if you want ultimate carnage, and one of the frames that is also very synergistic with the majority of the helmet abilities. Alright folks, these are the top 10 frames that you need to have right now going into 2024. Ultimate beasts that can boost and even change your gameplay. Anyway, that has been it from me. I do hope you've enjoyed and learned something from this video. If you did, please feel free to leave a like, share, and subscribe for more Warframe content, streams, and so much more. Do refer to the description. Thanks for watching, and as always, peace. Bye-bye now.